Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again for those tuning in on the simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X. We're glad you all could be with us today. Going to bring in our friends over on IG, so they can be part of our chat. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon Live. This is my first time having this guest on Amazon Live, but we've been having a great chat before this conversation, so now we feel like old friends. I'm excited to welcome international best-selling author Jean Meltzer to our broadcast today. You guys know her for some great books. She's celebrating her brand new book that's out now that's also an Amazon bestseller, The Eight Heartbreaks of Hanukkah. She has her copy there. We're going to talk to her about the success of the book, but also she's gearing up for a very busy 2026. She has something new coming through Jewish Joy LLC. We're going to talk to her about that and how you guys can find out more information. For you guys joining us on the Amazon side, welcome to you. If you guys are new to us, make sure you guys do hit that follow button, either here in this corner or down below, because we are interactive here. You all can be able to get Jean's new book while we're talking. You'll see it there, both in print as well as the Kindle edition, as well as her other books as well. Jean, thank you so much for the time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It is such an honor to be here to talk Hanukkah and all things books and Jewish joy.
Yeah. And that is what is so cool. You and I were just talking about how it's so hard to distinguish, what's fun and what's work because we kind
Yes.
of it's all intertwined. That definitely is true for you. As I mentioned, you're an international best-selling author. You've had these great books that have gotten this worldwide acclaim. You have the success of Jewish Joy LLC that includes its own book club and then more coming in 2026. What has that been like for you, Jean, to kind of reflect on how this all began and how it's grown to where it is now?
It's absolutely a blessing, a miracle. I mean, most people won't know this by looking at me, but I'm actually a chronically ill and disabled woman. There was a point in my life where I spent 10 years basically homebound, thinking I would never be anything more than my husband's disabled wife. If I had just published one book, it would have been, as we say in Judaism, dayenu, enough. But to now be on my fifth book, to have a company called Jewish Joy, to be able to spread so much light and love into the world, a blessing and a miracle. So thrilled to be here and doing all these amazing things.
And I think that's what makes this conversation so personal because I think people will be able to think about that, Gene, as they look at themselves and what's still possible for them. Let's talk about the storytelling because that seems to be the gateway that you've been able to kind of connect with readers. How did you know that storytelling was going to be the vehicle you use to introduce yourself to the world?
So I've always been a writer. I can still remember being in preschool and watching my teacher write ABC on the board. I know, and I remember it felt like the skies opened up. There was something about language and the ability to use language and to communicate that felt like true magic. But it really wasn't until sixth grade, an experience with my English teacher. She gave us an assignment to write a short story. I guess it was that year, beginning, middle, and end, we were learning. And I remember working really, really hard to write this story about a princess named Princess Carolot. I came in, my teacher said, Jean, this is really good. Would you like to read it to the class? And so I read it to the class. And I remember my classmates were like laughing and they loved it and they begged for more. So it became a thing. I would just go into my school in sixth grade with a new story every morning, and my classmates would love it. My teacher would let me read it, and that really segmented for me that I was going to be a writer.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's so funny. I've had a similar experience myself. It's so funny hearing you talk about that because there's nothing like doing something and then people enjoying it. In my case, Gene, I would be on the school bus, and some of the kids would have me read to them on the school bus. I had these notebooks, and so I still have those notebooks.
Yeah, me too. I have my little kid stories too. I mean, one day we should share them with each other because I feel like I feel like it's so cool that you also had this experience.
Yeah. In fact, some of my friends on Facebook, they wrote about that recently. Cyrus, I remember you reading to us on on, on the school bus, and now here you are doing this. And so, did it almost feel then inevitable that you would not only find your audience, Gene, but also be able to speak to people in a way that they felt seen?
I love that. It was such a long journey and it wasn't linear. But I
Sure.
will say, I think, Cyrus, what you're picking up on there is exactly why we become storytellers.
Yeah.
Yes, it's about explaining something that you've experienced or you've been through, but it's more about the connection. I like to joke that, like, when I write a book and I put it out into the world, it's like me reaching out and saying, see me. But when a reader reads that book and they feel seen, it's them reaching back. And I think there's something almost cosmically beautiful about that in storytelling. It's that
Right.
ability to see each other.
Mm. And so, how did it go then from you becoming this international best-selling author, Gene, to building a platform and knowing that that was something that was needed, not just for your readers, but for other people to feel like they belong and have their own community?
Yeah, this is such a great question. So I like to say I'm an author turned accidental entrepreneur. I fell in love with romance as a genre when I was 38 years old. It was the first that was the age I picked up my first romance novel, and I
Wow.
began devouring romance books. I like steamy, clean, category trade did not matter. I was like, what is this amazing genre full of happy endings? But
Mhm.
what I never really saw in those books was me, which was a nice Jewish girl or a chronically ill and disabled woman. And so
Yeah.
I decided to start sort of writing those books for myself, for me and my niece, just for fun. I had no idea it would like spiral into this almost kind of movement. But when I saw how many people were also affected by having these stories, how much positivity, how much we all need to see ourselves as the heroes of our own stories, getting happy endings, I
Mhm.
realized that message was bigger than me. And I became compelled to really just spread out this word, that this idea that Jews are more than our trauma. We are
Mm.
happy endings, we are love stories, we are celebration. And that to me is what Jewish joy is. And I love as a faithful person that I can also give people access to their own faith through the Jewish tradition. So I love
Yeah.
sharing and I love spreading the joy. And again, I keep going back to this word blessing, miracle, honor, which is very Hanukkah-y, but
Yeah.
that's what it feels like, a blessing, an honor, and a miracle.
Yeah, that brings us back then to what I mentioned in my introduction, Gene, your new book, the Eight Heartbreaks of Hanukkah, because there we meet these two individuals. And the reason why I thought about it as you were just talking was you have these two individuals, Evelyn and David, that are basically exactly what you just described.
Yeah, yeah,
you know, and I think it what I love in books and what I have found in talking with others is that it's great to look at a television show where everyone is rich and powerful and has everything together, but then we look underneath and we see
mm,
they're just a mess. You know,
yes.
you've given us that in a sense with Evelyn and David.
Yes.
These individuals who thought they had something, and that was not the case at that point. Life happening to them and giving them this opportunity. What is normally the seed for you? Do you kind of start with an idea, or is it a character that kind of speaks to you and you kind of find out about them throughout the book?
So the truth is, I cannot feel passionate enough about a story unless it challenges me in some way. So
Okay.
usually it's something I'm trying to process or work through for myself. So for
Okay.
example, with the Eight Heartbreaks of Hanukkah, my little sister had experienced something called a TFMR, which is a not trigger warning here, termination for medical reasons
Hmm.
during a pregnancy. It was incredibly traumatic for her. It was a huge loss, enough so that she changed her entire career
Hmm.
because of it. And I knew I've always been someone who takes stories that aren't seen and makes them visible. I've always been someone, I say it's the greatest honor to give voice to the voiceless. So
Right.
I knew that I wanted, underneath this happy Hanukkah retelling of a Christmas carol, I knew I wanted to deal with a couple that truly loved each other and should be together. But life has a way of pulling people apart. So this is a story about coming back together again. And again, it was influenced by my love of Christmas, but also a real life tragedy in my own family.
Yeah. The thing I've gotten, as I mentioned, I have the Kindle edition, Gene. The thing that I picked up on is that it also reminds us that a lot of times it's so easy for us to forget the good, right?
Yes.
Life can happen to us and we think everything is horrible, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
And this book reminds us, that that's not the case, but we have to look for the good. We have to be reminded sometimes of the good. How important has that been for you to have, even though it is an entertaining book and these characters are, are great, but to be to have messages like that included?
It is my absolute favorite thing in my tradition, the Jewish tradition. We have a line from the Midrash which says, God only works through broken vessels. And I love that line because I think that that is the sort of mission of every human being to do good work, even though we are broken vessels. And I always try to write towards the goodness of the world. I always try to give stories that give hope. There's so much darkness right now. We can all turn on the news and see the darkness, but just like Hanukkah, where we put the menorah in the window, we spread our light to brighten an otherwise dark world.
Mm. You also are, even though we've been talking about it throughout this conversation, what I love about it, and I'm sure I'm going to hear about this from our audience, is you're the kind of guest, Jean, that people love, where it's very obvious that you're a person of faith and that your faith guides you, but it's not something that is so, so structured. It's just who you are.
Yep.
And that kind of flows right into Jewish joy as well. Do you think that's why it has been so easy for you? Well, I'll use the word easy, but nothing truly it's easy when it goes to business, but at least makes it easier to kind of navigate the worlds of literary and entrepreneurship.
Yeah, it's because I feel I'm doing good work. I know how many people we're helping. And again, I love talking about the wisdom of my Jewish faith and tradition. There's so much, it's a 6,000-year-old tradition. It has so many beautiful ways of seeing the world. And I love when not only my Jewish readers or people who are in Jewish Joy, who are Jewish, but non-Jews find their access points. Whether that's because they love bagels or they married a Jewish person or they grew up in a Jewish community and it was always so supportive and taking care of them. There are so many people who see Jews as part of their story, and I love being able to give them the next chapter through Jewish Joy.
You just brought up another thought to me, Jean, when you were talking, and that was the other thing that is great about your writing. And yes, you started off this conversation about mentioning about, not seeing yourself in books. But what I think is so great is that what you remind us of in books, like with the new one, is that people are people.
Amen.
And being able to accept people for people and look for those connections, because I know people will look at Evelyn, regardless of their faith and background, and look at David and say, I can relate to that.
Yes.
Is that also part of the connection you hope happens even outside of the Jewish community, to show that really how universal we all are, and especially when it comes to life and love?
Absolutely. Again, it goes back to originally what I said. We are all so much more than the stories of our trauma, the bad things that happened to us. And really, that is exactly it. I can't tell you how many, I just did an event with a bunch of lawyers and they were like, we related to Evelyn so much. These were very high level women and they understood that pressure of having to manage a family alongside wanting to be successful in your career. I've had women write me who are not Jewish who want to use lines from my books in their wedding vows. So of course I sent them the whole set, things were written out, because what a beautiful way to honor both me and like them, and what a beautiful love story. But I think that's it. At the end of the day, we're all just people. And when we sit down and we break bread with each other, when we tell each other our stories, I'm such an advocate for storytelling. We see each other in a different way. We see each other's humanity. So even, Jews are such a small number in population, but even if you've never met a Jewish person before, you can pick up one of my books and you can learn about what it's like to be a Jewish person. And even if you are a Jewish person, if you didn't have a lot of, if you had a ton of Jewish education growing up or none, my books really are there to provide access points. And it's a gift to be able to do that. I am grateful every day of my life for this journey.
Love that. It's a top 10 new release right now, even on Amazon. As we're having this conversation. Jean, I want to say hello to you, Ricky Barksdale, over there on IG. Chris is joining us over on Facebook. He says, very beautiful of you to bring representation to a culture that isn't represented in the romance genre. Shalom. Chris, thank you so much for joining us over there on Facebook as well. And that is the great thing, a great segue, actually, back to Jewish Joy, because as I mentioned, you're gearing up for something big in 2026. Tell us about it.
Yes, it is called Jewish Joy Con. It is the ultimate celebration of Jewish creativity. It is scheduled for March 13th to 15th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, at the Broward County Convention Center. I like to tell people, imagine like Comic-Con smushed together with like Jewish culture and tradition. So we're going to have celebrities, we're going to have authors, we're going to have film people, musicians, comedians, food, culture in this huge space, 5 to 10,000 people. And I like to say to people, you know, it doesn't matter who you are. If you love bagels, or you laughed or took us off at Seinfeld. If you just want to know more about Jewish culture, this is just a great big party to get together and celebrate Jewish culture and tradition. So like, we are welcoming, we are loving, no drama, just a big, beautiful celebration of arts overlooking the Atlantic Ocean in South Florida. So come on out. You can get tickets at thejewishjoycon.com.
Love that. Congratulations to you, Jean. This has been a great conversation. I always tell people these conversations go so fast.
Yeah, they do.
But I really appreciate you not only being able again to entertain, but also to inspire. And then, of course, that sense of community that you're building with your books and now with Jewish Joy is something that is so powerful. Again, everyone, we've been speaking with Jean Meltzer today. Her newest book is called The 8 Heartbreaks of Hanukkah. It's out now on Amazon. Again, already an instant Amazon bestseller. You can also get her other books there as well. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. If you're joining us on the Amazon side, you'll see it either here on the side or down below. We have her other titles there as well. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. Jean, I know you just mentioned it, but please give out the website again for us.
Sure. It is thejewishjoycon.com. So really easy to find. And you can also, we update slowly every week, new guests and celebrities, and also our Instagram page, Jewish Joy Con on Instagram. You can see all our new announcements for the week and day. We have amazing people coming. So definitely gather your friends, Jewish or not, and come on down.
Well, Jean, congratulations again. Looking forward to our next conversation together.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. You made this so easy. And really, to everyone, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and happy holidays.
Thank you. Appreciate you. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.